a second. Sorry.
Dr. Tachi, once you get that live stream, you can send it to me on the chat. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Hey, Miss Trisbeat, come to your left. You're gonna come inside. You see where that sign is? I want you to come inside. I see that you're confused. Come inside. No. Come back where you are. Now you're gonna turn. There you are. Now come forward and sit in a chair. Now you're gonna turn. There you are. Yeah, just plop yourself in a chair. Thank you for being here, Mr. Trisbeat. Okay. Curtis, you good?
I assume so. He's muted on both avatars.
Okay. Great. So, Curtis, I'm going to ask you to message me back. Oh, never mind. Can you send me the show? Great. Stand by, Forte. Oh, who's trying to find it on YouTube? Oh, hey, Mr. Pete. I'm sending it to Forte.
And Forte is continuing the night.
So I just sent to you, Forte. Okay. And we are ready. Proceed. You can go ahead and take down, let me know when you're taking down the thing so I can start, the show card so I can start. Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Show card's going down.
All right. Welcome everyone to Media Meets Brunch. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. I don't know if somebody has something unmuted. Maybe it's you, MC Curtis, our tech person for today, but I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. So if you're listening to something, make sure everybody is muted. If you're listening to another device, make sure that device is all the way down. Myself to you. My name is Tachi. I'm a media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, also a journalist, and this is Media Meets Brunch. Today, first from the Metaverse, and we are doing this in conjunction with the Metaverse Meetup. How cool is this? I know you guys are used to seeing us only on IG Live, but now we're so beyond that. So let me say hello to everybody who is watching us on YouTube. If you are watching us on Twitter, welcome. If you're watching us on Facebook, what it is. Thank you so much for being here. So we're going to get started because this is going to be an insightful but brief conversation today. And we have two experts when it comes to understanding the metaverse space. And again, we are talking about using video and live stream in Web3 and the metaverse. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves to you. We'll start with Ope right next to me on my left. Hey, Ope, thank you for being here.
Unmute.
Unmute yourself, my friend. Wow. So, okay. So she's getting herself together. Okay. We'll come back to you. Let's start with Cheddars. Cheddars, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Cheddars.
Oh,
I'm from the Northern California area, 26 years old, and I've been in Alt Space VR, this application we happen to be in right now, for about 2.5 years. And I regularly do the live stream for Cornerstone VR Church on Sundays, every Sunday. And I've helped out at VRMO Church and done a little bit of world building, and that's pretty much me.
fantastic. By the way, I have to say that your outfit is riveting. It is beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun aspects to it where a lot of bright colors makes you stand out among the crowd and be memorable to people when they see you around, which is something that I've always found interesting in Alt Space VR, where people are more excited and free to choose bright colors.
Absolutely. And you know, the interesting thing is when you look, there are a variety of things, ways you could dress yourself up, but you know, it's still limited, but you end up looking different because you can choose the colors, you can choose patterns. It's just absolutely amazing. So I welcome you and thank you so much for being here, Cheddars. And I love your personality, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You have a great speaking voice, so I'm really impressed.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, clearly this has become a festival of compliments. So, and I love it. I'm here for it. Miss Ope, are you ready?
Hey, I'm ready.
Hey, my dear, thank you so much for being here. Would you mind introducing yourself to the audience? Tell them who you are and what you do.
Yes, my name is Ope, and what am I? I actually I work as a fashion stylist, IRL. However, just like a lot of people in this space and in this room today, I did the deep dive into Web3 metaverse technology. It's been, I guess, almost 2 years soon, and yeah, it's that's what I do. I tour people around the different various metaverse platforms, and I do education on how to create for metaverse platforms, and I just am always sharing the metaverse news, and we do metaverse church. We do a lot of onboarding into the space, and just education on how to make this applicable to every person who is working, because thank you.
It seems like we may have. Oh, you're there. All right. Sorry, I thought we lost you. There we go. Okay, well, we'll come back to you, Ope. It seems like you may have some a little bit of issues, but we'll come back because
No, I don't have any
oh,
issues.
there
I
you
was
are.
done. I was
Go
finished.
ahead,
For the
Ope.
last
Sorry.
2 seconds, that was it.
Oh,
No,
okay,
I
you're
was
good.
finished with what I said.
Okay, okay. I thought you weren't finished. All right, no worries.
No,
Thank you for
thank
that.
you.
So,
Thanks.
ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into our conversation. First of all, thank you again. Secured and helped design this beautiful space that you're seeing right now. I mean, I'm in awe. And this is just a testament to what can be done in the metaverse, and instead of just having a regular flat 2D meeting, you can do things like this. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal. So let me ask both of you. I want to start with a line of questioning, asking both of you why. Actually, let's go backwards. On our flyer, we have Web3 and Metaverse. Is there a difference between Web3 and the Metaverse, or are they the same thing?
I guess I'll go first. To me, Web3 has an emphasis on decentralization, where people have a sense of privacy. There's not a limitation based on greater companies or greater governments to be able to speak and stuff like that. Uh, and it's also about community. How do you do community in a more immersive way? And so sometimes that involves virtual reality, sometimes that involves like cryptocurrencies, because that's another way, or NFTs as a way to connect. The last thing I would say, that what makes metaverse a little bit different is that term has become nebulous to include a lot of different things, where corporations will try to use it to say we're going to combine merchandise brands, as well as you've got people in virtual reality using it to talk about all the different platforms. Each, platform like VR chat, Rec Room, Alt Space is its own metaverse of sorts. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know that there is a slight difference. Thank you. Ope, anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I think that that Cheddar's very appropriately summed it up. I always like to think of the metaverse as for one, that it is a term that is still being defined as the technology develops. It's still something that's still happening, being formed. So we don't have like a true definition of it yet, but I always include augmented reality, extended reality, mixed realities, virtual realities, and AI in as it pertains to avatars in those definitions of what it currently um, is looking like right now. And as Cheddar's mentioned, Web3, can also, because sometimes people may say that the metaverse is not, the VR and the AR and all of those things, but Web3 is open metaverse, can be defined as an open metaverse, which includes the blockchain and includes, like you said, the thoughts of autonomy, owning your data, and all of those things. Like he was saying, that involve the community and privacy, and cryptocurrency because it's on the blockchain. So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, that's really good. That's a great definition to start with. I'm also going to say once again, welcome to everybody who's coming in. Just come on in and have a seat on these wonderful chairs. We'd love to have you just come on in. And if you have any questions, we're going to have time for questions afterwards. Those of you watching on YouTube or Facebook or on Twitter, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat, and you'll be able to see it up on the screen, and then I will be able to answer you. That will be cool, won't it? So, I'll be able to answer you in Web3 from Web2. So I'm kind of excited about that. So let's keep going because again, like I said, it's an insightful chat, but we want it to be brief because we know that you all want to some other things. By the way, it's Media Meets Brunch. So did you notice the brunch table? Did you notice we have virtual brunch? How cool is that? So if you want to go ahead and get some virtual brunch, and you can actually at the drink table click and pick up a drink. So that's what I'm talking about when we come to brunch. Thank you, Ope, again. Look, see, he's going all right. That's right. Go and get your virtual brunch and your drink. That's what I'm talking about. So, and let me know if you're watching out there on YouTube or any of the other live stream platforms. Let me know what you are brunching on. I would love to know what you are brunching on. All right, here we go. Welcome, everyone. We're going to keep going. So I want to know this. Why does all this even matter? Why do we have to know about Web3? What's the purpose of us as a general layperson knowing this? Either of you can start first.
I personally think that this already is changing the way we live, and will be changing the way we all live. It's inevitable. It will be something that we are all going to walk into. Web3, metaverse technology will have to be embraced, because it is indeed the next iteration of the internet as we know it. We've had to use the internet in order to get around. We dropped uh, the paper trail like a while ago, and as we evolve, the things that we once did and how we communicated, it's constantly changing. Technology will be the new way to to rid ourselves of these processes, the slower processes. And as we evolve into Web3 and metaverse technology, even what we understood, the emails will be too slow to communicate. It used to be that we communicated by letters, and we got things in the mail. Now that's slow. The email and the websites deliver instant results. So this next iteration of how we do the internet, the 3D web, and the 3D technology that will be brought to us, will be the way that we will handle life. So it will absolutely be necessary to how we all communicate. Imagine, instead of using a phone, now you'll be able to speak through a hologram to someone, or it's a more instant way of being able to communicate. And then the emails and the websites will start to soon be antiquated. Just it's just a natural progression of doing things next. Done speaking.
Makes
Thank you.
sense. Absolutely makes sense. What about you, Cheddars? What are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts is basically that in the beginning, people wanted to connect through the internet, through email. Then there was this segment of bloggers. Then Facebook figured out, and MySpace figured out they could turn the hard work of making your own blogging website and make it into a social media feed. And so all the people who wanted to share about their lives, their cooking recipes, and all of that's moved over to Facebook. And that was this distinction between the millennial generation and its predecessors. And we're seeing something similar almost occur with Gen Z, where Gen Z is growing up on metaverse technology, virtual reality, augmented reality, hanging out and having that phantom sense touch, being able to see worlds and experience Disneyland without having to take a ticket there, because you can experience in VR chat. And so as time moves on, eventually Gen Z will start taking over the industry. And at that point, I definitely see this will be the future of work and the future of hangouts for a global connected community that's even more connected than what we've seen in Facebook and the social media generation of millennials. I'm very lucky to be young enough to be able to learn from the Gen Zers and be friends with them to learn the tips and tricks that they've given. And it's exciting to see the benefit of virtual reality, which is, one, you feel more connected, where you're actually talking to someone. You get to hear their verbal feedback. Two, you get to have conversations with multiple people that's seamless. And three, from a communication major or minor perspective, I did a communication minor in college, space adds so much context to your communication. This space here with the microphones pointed at us puts us in this mode, in this mood to talk professionally. Whereas if we were off and hanging out in some cool world that had stars, we would think it's possibly romantic or adventurous or dreamy. And that just sets the tone for your communication and the relationships you'll form for a long time. Uh, just one more comment. I will say that I think Metaverse will take wide adoption both when Gen Z comes in and also when two technologies come out. When it's easy to type in virtual reality, one, and two, when it becomes easy to bring in your face into virtual reality, either through facial tracking. Because that's the one thing that video chatting still has over virtual reality, is that you can see facial expressions when people react. Whereas virtual reality, you only have the tone of voice and the hand gestures. But to me, I can read people's energy level and how they responded from their hand motions and their head motions. So
Wow, very, very thorough to conceptualization by both of you. And let me just go to, we've got a bunch of people listening in Clubhouse. Yuri is throwing up some exclamation points saying like basically, wow. We've also got, hey, to everybody who's watching on Facebook, Zoila is here and she says wow as well. Serena Wills, who's actually the queen of food truckery and the minister of libation for Mediascope, is joining us. And what's up? Shanice Green is also here, as is Patricia Murray. We've got a bunch of people joining on all the platforms. And if you're just joining, welcome to the fold. This is Media Meets Brunch in conjunction and collaboration this month with the Metaverse Meetup. Sorry, I wasn't facing you guys. With the Metaverse Meetup, this is on Clubhouse. And if you're interested in what the Metaverse Meetup does, you definitely should follow them on Clubhouse. They are also on Discord. By the way, if you're watching in Discord, hello. I forgot to say hello to you as well. So we are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We are here in the Metaverse and All Space VR. We are in Clubhouse and we are on Discord. What? Look at 2022. Who would have thought we would come to this point where we could do all of that with virtual brunch? And by the way, we have, who is it that was saying that they, Serena Wills just got finished eating eggs, turkey bacon, and a cinnamon zucchini muffin, dairy-free yogurt mixed with fresh strawberries and some tea. Did you bring enough for everyone? Even if you didn't, enjoy your brunch. Thanks for letting us and keep what you're brunching on. And as you can see, Ope has got this fantastic drink in her hands. This is some of the stuff that you can do in the metaverse. So here, let's keep going. Let's keep going. You all, this is the interesting thing. You all both have church in mind, and I want to talk about this before Cheddar shows us some stuff that can be done. I kind of want to ask you all about how the metaverse and how Web3 has transformed the experience of attending. Let's start with let's start with Ope, and then we'll go to Cheddars.
Can you repeat how church has? I didn't hear the end of your question. It blanked out for me. Sorry about that.
I apologize. Yes. Yeah, no problem. That's another thing. That's what happens with technology, right? So basically, how has Web3 and the metaverse transformed the experience of going to church or participating in any religious service?
Well, I'll just say for me, because Cheddars has been doing this a lot longer than I have. He'll be able to tell you even more. But as a matter of fact, it was Cheddars who helped us to set things up initially in the church environment that we had. Like, to, you would think, oh, it's just so easy to set up an event, even an event like this. You still have to do the same kind of moderation and whatnot, like you would do on any space, like in Clubhouse, any of that. But as far as changing the church experience, it's been great, because post pandemic, a lot of places, they did lose their buildings. So this was a way to help those places to be able to have a space, an actual space where they could meet up, besides a place like Clubhouse, as a lot of churches did, or communities did, right? And then you also have the added benefit of having an annex to whatever current ministry you have. You can meet people globally. I always say and iterate that this space, there are no boundaries for there are no geographical boundaries. It's always daytime or nighttime, whatever you have your settings to in your space. You can make your space as fantastical as you would like, and you can make it as real life as you like. As you know, for us to set this space up, I had another space in mind, and you prefer the more realistic looking scene, as opposed to maybe like a futuristic space on the moon or something. You know what I'm saying? And you can make that user experience so real. You can stream in ministers, or they can speak inside of the building. We actually still have person to person contact. We have to remind ourselves that every single person that's in here is a soul inside of. There's a soul facing you through goggles, and you see the avatar, but you're still communicating one to one. So there's still real fellowship, and there's still like real friendships being made. And you may be friends with someone that you only know by avatar, yes, but you really have, you can really gain a connection inside of these spaces and really, minister to people inside of these spaces. I see that um, it adds dimension. And for kids, it can be, it can be more interesting, for them instead of not saying that, the IRL experience is mundane, but it can challenge their senses a little bit and give them a little bit more to be interested in. Done speaking. Thank you. Oh, and that's something on screen. Thank you, Cheddars. Yeah, he'll have a lot to add.
Go ahead, Cheddars, please. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. So what really got me into alt space VR is when COVID hit in California. 2020 March 16th was when the shelter in place happened. And I was at a local church that had about 60 people. And at that point, asked myself, how do I make people fellowship just as they were hanging out after service? And so I thought about making a Discord server with like cafe channel and a lobby channel and a main room channel so people could switch between them and talk remotely. I thought about Google Hangouts and other applications. But then AltSpace came to my brain and I was like, wait, this can happen. And so by God's grace, we were able to equip 20 people with Oculus Go headsets, have prayer meetings every Tuesday and Thursday. And by my shock, where 2 or 3 meet together in my name, there I will be with them, proved true even in virtual reality. Where we were able to pray together and see prayers answered. Classic things like, people recovering from cancer, but also the more mundane things like someone falling out of a 100-foot tree and recovering, like that's crazy. So that was really encouraging. And eventually I got asked by other churches to be a part of their welcome teams and help build church worlds, because I had some experience doing that when I was helping build the church world for our prayer team. And we found out, one, that as we would hang out after our prayer meetings, world hoppers would be super open to talking to us, because Metaverse has kind of broken stereotypes, broken down what it means to hang out at like a Starbucks or something. You can talk about anything. And people are just so open, and it's so refreshing. I don't have to worry about being shunned and stared at a Starbucks when discipling someone. I can just talk in virtual reality with these world hoppers. And about half of them would say like, hey, I'm down for prayer. If we ever like, hey, I enjoy praying for people. Would you like prayer? Anyways, so fellowship, hanging out with people, great in virtual reality for a Christian. And secondarily, I'll go ahead and bring down the screen now. What's cool about virtual reality is it provides both less need for volunteers to run the soundboard, to run slides, to run all this other stuff, but more opportunities to go ahead and use the 3D models provided by these different applications to go ahead and create entire worlds based on the chapter you're teaching in. So this is an example of the VR church world for 1 Peter 3, where they would go ahead and you'd walk into this nice welcoming building, and you would go ahead and the verses are on the walls, and they would have a whole home scene to talk about what it means to be a husband and wife. All these different scenarios. They would have, when it talks about, and now this word to all of you, you should be like one big happy family, full of sympathy toward each other, loving one another with tender hearts and humble minds. And you get to just casually put in a wonderful image of our VR church community. You can see me hiding in the back right there. And just a wonderful time being able to experience the gardens, that maybe, Jesus experienced in the Garden of Gethsemane, if you really wanted to. Talk about what it means to, what for Christ suffering and dying, having like little tangential bits about 6 different views of this particular scripture from, different commentaries, being able to go through the waterfall of baptism, or something, and then walk up the clouds into heaven. Like, these are the kind of things you can do in virtual reality with a very small volunteer team. Hopefully that gives some sort of idea of the potential for teaching, the potential for ministering, and the potential for just being open and fellowshipping in deep connection with one another in virtual reality.
Is anybody else in awe? It's absolutely amazing what can be done, and it's just a testament to the fact that we talk about in real life, and you do need in these life connections, but I challenge anybody who says that you cannot make genuine relationships and friendships in virtual worlds, in even with just live streaming. There's so many. MC Curtis, who is running the you could go ahead and put your name up on the screen. MC Curtis and I met doing through Blab, and we only met once in real life. So, but yet we've been working together for now about 6 years. So it shows the power and the testament to what can be done in all of these spaces. This is absolutely fantastic. Before we keep going, I would like to welcome all the people on YouTube. We've got Self First Movement. Shawana Kennedy is here. Hello. Peter Host is here, and he's standing in the back with a black cowboy hat and green jacket. And he said he's 80 years old and he loves VR church. So there is no age to this. You don't think, oh, well, I'm too old for this. Never. There is no age. You're never too, well, you may be too young, but with supervision, you won't be too young, and you can never be too old. B. Campbell is here. Hello, hello. As is Claude Diamond. He says, happy Sunday to you as well. DS, one of my favorites from YouTube, is here, and he asked this question, and I'll ask it of both of you. What are your thoughts about the negative responses that people have towards the metaverse, and do you see anything negative coming out of this? I will go ahead, Ope. We'll start with you, and then we will go to Cheddars.
Well, I have to say, I mean, I think with anything, there are definitely going to be pros and cons. I've definitely seen, because I tour people into all kinds of spaces. I've definitely seen and heard some disturbing things in the space. I think that as long as we keep our intentions pure, I think that we can, maneuver the space and keep in good company. I know that when I'm touring people, I always try to protect the people that I'm touring from trolling, because that does happen. Also from bullying, because that has also happened even on tours that I've had. If you allow them the space to do that, I think that we can, prevent that through moderation when we have event spaces. I know that we moderate our church space events, when we have and I'm just saying that because that's the one that that's the kind of event space that I handle the most. There going to be some, bad actors in every sector of life, right? But I think I look forward to seeing what the best parts of it are as we develop, because yeah, we are not going to enjoy whenever we experience that. I think that what I can say is that let's protect our children, and as you mentioned earlier, let's monitor our children in these spaces. Let's not use the headset as a babysitter. And if you do put children inside of this device, please do make sure that because you can watch what they're streaming. You can see into the headset. You can set it up so that you can see what's happening while they're doing it, because they're the ones that we definitely need to protect, and they are also the ones that we need to watch, because sometimes and in a lot of instances they can be the biggest bullies in the space, actually, because they sometimes don't have manners. They need to be, we are taught manners, and then when you throw them into these environments, they usually are the ones that are bullying people, believe it or not. So yeah, I think that that's like a big thing that we have to watch out for: cyberbullying for sure, and trolling. of spaces, and also not misjudging people by their avatars. I think that, surprisingly, that does happen. And I've experienced that as well. So, it's strange. I mean, because some of us come in as we are, but some people come in, in a different capacity because they are trying to experiment. And just because they don't, want to look like we do IRL, doesn't mean that they should be judged for such. There are lots of other things that I could think of, but I'll hand the mic over to Cheddars. Thank you.
Go ahead, Cheddars.
Uh,
Your thoughts on that?
the,
And then before you answer, I also want us to start to get into video. So I would also like, once you answer that, your thoughts on video and live streaming in this space, using it effectively, etc. Go ahead.
okay. Thank you. I think Ope did a great job explaining that there is a huge concern of trolls when you're hosting events. AltSpace VR, because it has the least playable functionality, like hanging out and playing tennis or something, you seem to find fewer trolls in AltSpace compared to VR Chat, Rec Room, and other platforms. But a troll is defined as someone in my brain that is attention seeking and will do whatever they can during the event to gain that attention. We have seen people change their entire avatar to look like Jesus, change their display name to be Jesus, and as a VR church, we end up welcoming them and say, "Hey, thank you, Jesus, for joining this service. Continue to enact Matthew 6 as we continue to preach about it." And so you have to learn how to either be adaptable and flexible with these trolls, because usually when you give them the attention, they'll calm down. And we even had someone named Future Queen of Hell become a Christian after a while. But the thing to keep in mind is there are other trolls who know how to hack, who can then go ahead and insert like the N word, all repeating in loop at full volume from a non-avatar object. And so those are pretty rough scenarios where you end up just resetting the space. So there's another tier of troll too, where there's some trolls who like to just make drama for other people. And so we've seen in VR chat specifically where there'll be people who take invisible avatars and just whisper into people's ears, "This is all like terrible. Don't listen to any of this. Free yourself from the shackles of religion," and stuff like that. And even though we're not forcing anyone and we're to be at a church service, like listening to someone preach is not the end of the world. On another flip side of the negative aspects, there's it places like VR chat where anyone can upload any 3D model. You're gonna have scenarios where it will show up to your friend group with an avatar that can take off as many clothes as they want. And we'll do that. And that happened during our Christmas expedition with our VR church group. And at that point, you then have to learn, okay, how do we go ahead and kick these people or block these people and do group votes to remove people from this world? Or just be able to explain to anyone that's participating that's younger, hey, these are inappropriate things. There's definitely an aspect where people will take dating relationships to the extreme and reenact scenarios in dating that I think are a little too far. That's just because I'm an abstinence kind of person. What other negative things? I think that anything that has cyberbullying will have the same issues that you have on Facebook with cyberbullying, where you've got people manipulating you to come over, blackmailing you by making it so that it's so many stories of betrayal in VR chats and alt space where people will be like tell lies about each other to get people to do certain things and spread rumors and stuff. So you just have to understand that I find my love from God. And so don't try to find your source of love and affection entirely from VR chat. Make sure you have a family, make sure you have a support group, so that way you're not baited into these blackmail tactics of social groups. And then in VR chat, that will say, I'm going to ruin all of your friendships by saying you did something terrible. And then B, just make sure that you know you can always take off that headset and you do not need to listen to the abuse or harsh words of other people. Yeah, I think that pretty much summarizes it. Any questions about any of that, or should I switch over to the live streaming aspect?
Both of you had some thorough, that's absolutely, and I think we can apply that not just to religion or spirituality, but to a lot of different things. So all you have to do is think about those things as you navigate these spaces. There are negatives, definitely, but we also have to remember, I think, that the people that are in these spaces are the same people in real life. And just like we have deplorable people in real life, there will be deplorable people in these spaces, but that should not stop you from experiencing it fully and getting positive out of it, because there is a lot of positive in these spaces as well. So yeah, absolutely. With that, if we can, Cheddars, go ahead and tell us your thoughts about video and live streaming in the metaverse, and Web3. This is a universe of sorts. What you feel, the direction that it's going in, because just really quickly, it takes a lot really to do all this, to live stream and everything, and we're still not at the point yet where it's easy, where it happens with ease. There are always gaffes, and that happens with any technology. But where are we now, and where are we going with video and live stream in the metaverse and Web3? Go ahead.
Well, where we are now is there's basically 2 or 3 good options for live streaming from an application, and you pretty much need a computer to live stream well. The first option is what I'll steal Ope's thunder, is you go ahead and pull up a 2D desktop view of whatever platform you want to go on a computer, PC, or Mac typically. And then you can go ahead and use a screen sharing application like Discord or StreamYard that can go ahead and capture what's on your computer screen and send it to a view of everyone. And so that's really fun. Second option is you can go ahead and Facebook on their Quest headsets have it built in to be able to stream whatever you're viewing straight to Facebook. The aspect ratio and the jitter will not be perfect in those scenarios, and I'll show you a little example of that, where if you were to just see on the web projector screen, me, like, as I'm talking to you, you'll notice there's a lot of jitter on the screen. And that's jitter is not a good thing to be streaming with. So that's why I don't like option 2 either, because of all the jitter that naturally happens. Option 3, which is the most professional in my opinion of them all, is where you go ahead and you take your computer screen and you use a program called OBS, or Open Broadcast Software, completely free, to be able to capture your screen and send it to any application, where you would go ahead and go into your settings, and then you would go ahead and go to stream, and you would select whatever service from their service list, whether that be Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Restream.io, Twitter, and etc. A lot of these virtual reality applications know that they get their publicity by these kind of live streams, and so all of them, if they don't have documentation built in on their website, they'll go ahead and there's YouTube videos from the community of how people do it. Even Altspace VR, which is made by Microsoft, has a whole article just dedicated to that. It's this one, recording and live streaming, where they have a short explanation about how to set up OBS and a long explanation about like how you can do it with one screen by alt tabbing between the two applications, and so on and so forth. There's a lot more, but I'll ask if there any questions so far.
Yeah, that's actually great. You all in the Alt Space VR audience have been very attentively listening and quiet, which is great. But if you all have any questions, we also invite you to unmic and ask any questions that you may have. Continue. We've got a lot of questions coming from both Facebook and YouTube. Someone asked, this was Patricia that asked, did you use some kind of headset? Because she doesn't have any idea how it works. And for a space like this with Alt Space VR, you can use a PC or a Mac and download AltSpace VR to your computer and experience it that way. You can also do like what Cheddars and Ope are doing. They're actually using VR headsets. I'm not sure whether they're using Oculus or what, but they're using VR headsets. And this is why they're able to move their hands and nod. And that's why I look like a stiff piece of licorice, because I don't have a VR headset. So that this is two different ways that we're using it. I am using a Mac, and that doesn't allow you a whole lot of flexibility in terms of movement, but using a VR headset does. So you can see they have more natural body movements than I do. But you know what? Either way, however you join, it's just about coming into the space. And as Cheddar said, the fellowship in the space. So it doesn't matter how you join. You can join however you'd like. Okay, is there something you'd like to add about video and live stream? And I know that's not necessarily technically your area, but I know you probably have some thoughts on it.
Well, actually, it is. This is what I do every day. I simulcast a stream into Discord for all of the meetings, for all the tours that I take people through the various platforms. They're all toured through live streaming through the headset and into Discord. I use Discord because it's an easy way to get people into one space. And I don't know, I think Oculus definitely owes me a paycheck for as many people that have seen the stream and then go and get their headset the following weeks. I see some, yeah, because it definitely is a way to communicate so that people can see, they can get an idea. And you know what? The immersive experience being in here is nothing like the live stream, but the live stream gives you an idea of what you're going to experience as you come into the space. I remember showing Forte something by a live stream, and she was like, oh, okay, it looks nice. But then when she came in, then the immersive experience is so much better, of course. So you need to experience it, obviously. And I'm really sorry that I think we are missing one person who couldn't get into the space. And we try to get people into the immersive, right? But the live streaming is so important to be able to capture people, to give them an idea, for them to see what it is and experience it, vicariously through us, of course, and then see how they may like to join the next time. So I think that just for a very topical, not very in depth, just by experience, I know that the live streaming that way and onto Discord and using all of that, because you can also record your screen if you have I have a Mac, and so I record the streaming, and I'm may use it to bring other people in and let them know what's happening that way as well. But yes, it's definitely, you're going to get more about this from Cheddars, who has done the actual streaming to YouTube and streaming to other spaces. Thank you.
Of
Wow.
course.
Go ahead.
Ope, do you mind if I show your Discord server on the presentation page?
No, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. So,
Yeah,
and I
that would
just
be
want to give a
fantastic.
context to those people who are not familiar with the application called Discord. It's basically a group chatting program where they have a server that contains multiple text channels, as they call it, just group chats. And so what's really cool is you can see they're all on this meta stream feed right here, watching it live. And then once you get someone to join the live stream through Discord, it's so easy for them to go ahead and go into the welcome channel or the introduce yourself channel. and start to let people introduce each other to the community. And then it makes it easier to connect with people, where you can see who's online on the far right, or you can see who's members of the group and who are like staff and mods. Like Ope is technically the server owner in the top right. So it makes it really simple, where you can just, to invite someone to a Discord server, you select in my opinion, I select a channel, I click create invite, and then you would just go ahead and copy and paste the link at the bottom to whoever wants to join the server. And for a Discord moderator, what's nice is defaultly those invites only last 7 days. So that way, and you can see how many people are joining through each invite. So you can find out things like what advertisement is working. If your link got leaked out there, you can disable that link, and so on and so forth. And each person can have different roles, as they call it, which is permissions to view different channels. So you can have like a moderator channel to talk about whether we kick a person or not. So I talk about this a lot because there's so many communities in virtual reality that either use Discord or Slack or Clubhouse to communicate and stay in touch outside of these platforms, because platforms like VR Chat and AltSpace VR don't have a robust messaging system. You can see, so VRMO Church is in one of the servers I have, Cornerstone VR is another server I have, and I have a whole folder of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 churches that are in virtual reality that have Discord servers. That's how prevalent it is.
Wow. That's given us a lot to think about and chew on. Definitely. So as we start to wrap up our brunch, and again, let me just say welcome to everybody who may be just joining us now. No such thing as too late. This is Media Meets Brunch. We do this conversation monthly where we take a media topic and talk about it over brunch, real brunch, or like virtual brunch. Metaverse Meetup, and we have Ope and Chedders, who are our, I'm going to call you celebrity guests, because to me you guys are celebrities, our celebrity expert guests, to talk all about using video and live streaming in Web3 and the metaverse. And this is really just scratching the surface, but we don't want to hold you all afternoon. But what I do want to do is ask you all any other things that you'd like to add about this topic, using video and live streaming in this space, or anything anything that we talked about today. We'll start with you, Ope.
I would like to give it to Cheddars to share what it's like to stream in VR chat or anything like that. I know he had a really cool share on that. That was really cool.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can do that. That sounds fun.
Yes, please. Absolutely.
I'm going to first try to give a demonstration over here with this wonderful example. So the people on YouTube can now see the audience we have in this wonderful event, which is amazing. Hello, everyone. You're on the big screen. What's really cool about being in desktop mode in AltSpace VR is you can zoom in, which is important so that when you're recording an event, you're not in the front of the audience blocking the view of everyone. It makes it a lot easier to get in on people's faces and get in on their hand gestures, especially when during Q&A sessions and such and so forth. To zoom in, you would just hold right click in desktop mode and then use the mouse wheel. And I highly recommend you get a mouse, even if you're a Mac user with a touchpad, because then it makes it easier to use that mouse wheel scroll. And you'll notice it's so important because in the bottom left, the HUD, those set of buttons, disappear when you're zoomed in. And so that usually I do my entire live stream zoomed in when it comes to AltSpace VR. Now, another interesting thing to note is that you want your account that you're live streaming with typically to be not the one you hang out with, because people will send direct messages to that account saying, how are you doing? And you don't want that coming up on the live stream. And if you put in the display name cam, right, like camera or cam, people know intuitively, oh, I'm not going to go do small talk with this avatar because it's just a camera. Whereas I'm a bad example. My camera is called Causeway. And so a lot of people end up trying to talk to Causeway and think it's a different person, when in actuality, it's just me controlling it from another place. Another thing about live streaming in general is if you can get the event host to give you the fly ability in the space, that allows for what you would consider drone footage during an event, which is really, really nice. But this is all specific things to AltSpace VR. The most important thing in other applications is to find out where their camera object is. So in AltSpace VR, they used to have this camera object in menu, settings, items called Jimmy Cam. It worked really well, where you would click it and it would spawn a camera object in front of the avatar. And then as the audience members can see over there, and it would get rid of all of those button HUDs and allow for you to move it anywhere in the space and have your avatar be separate from the camera object. So you could talk back to the camera, for example, or Mr. Pete could, be the star of the show, in front of the camera.
Do they still
However,
have that? Because I don't notice that to be the case anymore.
Yeah. However, what happened in AltSpace VR is the Jimmy Cam had problems when they updated the video game engine to the Universal Render pipeline in Unity. And so that no longer functions properly. So the only people that have that toggle is the desktop mode people. And the only really use for it now is if you click and hold, you can disconnect the camera from your avatar and have like a selfie where you take a photo or a group photo. But it's pretty rare. And you can always get out of that mode to hit escape. However, in other applications like VR chat, that is the way to go, because once you spawn that streaming camera, it goes ahead and changes what's shown on the computer screen to whatever that camera in the object space is looking at. So as Ope was mentioning, I figured out how to stream VR chat stream into here using this web projector. So if you give me approximately 3 minutes, I can go ahead and despawn this Cheddars avatar in AltSpace and talk through the web projector with me VR chat avatar to show you how you would go ahead and open that camera object, and also how easy it is to add smooth effects and cool effects on top of your video. Is that okay for me to do that for 3 minutes, or are we out of time?
Ope, what are your thoughts? We can if you like.
I say yeah. I think it would be cool for you all to see that, and just to while he does that, just to talk to you a little bit about what that entails. We've done tours, as you know, a lot of you here know. We have brought people into VR chat. But when you are able to now stream it from, even inside of this world, and he can, show you on the screen, his tour of a space, like that's an exponential experience. You could experience that like right here in your in your space, another world. So you're going to see VR chat inside of AltSpace VR on a live stream. Like, how many ways are we communicating the space? And we've done a lot of these tours where we bring people in through the Discord, but I've never done it where it is a experience inside of AltSpace VR and also on a live stream inside of a Discord. Like, how many ways are we communicating right now? I don't know if that's Web 5 or Web 6.
Yeah, we're in Web 7 now. We're in Web 7.
Oh, yeah. We are in the Web 7 matrix. Look at Shawana. Shawana, you made it. So good to see you and your avatar. So that's awesome. Congratulations. Shawana was having some problems getting here, y'all. So y'all throw her some emoji love for making it
here.
Yay! Yay, Shawana.
Yes.
So you guys can hear me, correct?
We do hear you. Yes.
All right, I'll just, if I can interrupt real quick, I will show you that when your menu, there's a whole tab called the camera. So you would click that, and then there's a whole component called the stream camera. And so when you click that, you'll notice how my computer screen, it's now showing just what my camera's pointing at. And so probably shouldn't make you guys dizzy. So I'm going to go ahead and set my smoothing behavior on. And then there's one button to turn this around. So now you can see my face. And then all you go ahead and do is unmute yourself in VR chat. So that way you can see my mouth move when I talk. And now we're all hanging out in VR chat. Pretty cool, right?
I love the way the avatar looks in VR chat. It's like an anime character, actually.
Exactly. It's really nice. This is when I was learning American Sign Language in VR chat, actually. And so you can see on my right arm is the Helping Hams logo. Let me go ahead and grab that camera and bring it up here. And I was learning, and I learned 300 different words, being able to do sign language, and stuff like that. Like,
wow.
Nice to meet you.
Wow. And nice to meet you too, because this is actually the first time that I've met Cheddars. And I know it won't be the last. So nice to meet you too. Wow. Absolutely phenomenal and amazing. Yeah, that deserves some emojis. Definitely. Thank you all for that. Is there anything else that you both would like to share with us before we conclude?
I would just like to, thank everybody for having been here. Thank you to everyone in the Discord. Thank you to everyone on the YouTube. Everybody here inside of this space that I was able to decorate in all space VR. So yeah, you see the food, all of that. You can create spaces like this inside of virtual reality if you don't know already, and you can decorate them, and you can make any space that you want nice. And like I said, you can use, like I and Cheddar have mentioned, you can make that space to your wildest imagination, and you can make lifelike. You can make it. You can make anything you want in these spaces. That's the great thing about being inside of metaverse platforms. And then you can the most important thing inside of all of these spaces is not to be in them alone, unless you absolutely, of course, want to be. But the great thing is the social aspect of being in those spaces and being able to communicate with a global audience. And now to be able to do that in live stream and record whatever it is you want. If you want to have your news broadcasted, or your community lunch meetups, like you're doing your brunch meetup, you can do that. What can you imagine, I guess, is the question that I'll end my segment. What would you imagine, and what could you create, and what would you like to do? How would you like to communicate it? It can be done in this space. There's literally things are getting better by the minute. So I would invite everybody to try and come into these spaces, all of the spaces, and build. I definitely show a lot of spaces inside of the Metaverse Meetup in different occasions. You can definitely walk with through all the different platforms, and I'll be happy to take you on tours for those spaces. And we also invite and encourage people to build in the space, so you can also build in those spaces. Over to you, Cheddars. Thank you.
You there, Ope? Did you finish?
Yes, I said over to
Oh.
Cheddars. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, there you go, Cheddars. Okay.
Cool. So just FYI. Oh, this is crazy. 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Give me 2 more seconds. I'm
No
coming
worries.
back and
Yeah, no worries. As you're doing that, I will head over to the room. That we have 2 questions before we wrap up, as we're waiting for Cheddars to rematerialize in this space. We have a question, Ope, from Francine Gregory. She asks, can people rent this space?
Sure. Yeah.
There. Oh, sure. So I'm going to ask you to, Francine, we know that you are on Clubhouse. I'm going to ask you to get in touch with Ope M on Clubhouse if you are interested in this space, because it is super beautiful. And I knew that was probably going to be a question. We also have a question from Miss Trisbeats on YouTube, and she asks about the best VR headset for VR chat.
Go ahead, Cheddars.
1 second.
I
guess
mean, I
can
use
talk about it while
Oculus.
I'm fixing this.
Okay, go ahead.
The best headset for VR chat has been the Quest 2 for a long time, just because it's standalone and any feature that you would want from a PC VR headset, you can pretty much get by using the Quest link to connect the Quest to the PC. The only other headset that I see people using a lot is the Index VR, mainly because it has better tracking. And if you have a bunch of money, you can add these trackers onto your feet, on your knees, on your elbows to be able to have full body tracking and dance in VR chat. So those are the two most common and headsets and the reasons for why.
Makes sense. You it looks like Ope concurs with that. Any other thoughts on headsets?
Oh,
Okay, I
me?
guess that's no.
No, Ope?
Yeah, Ope.
No.
I guess you say
No, I don't have any other
Okay.
comments. Yeah, Oculus Quest 2 is what I use as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Oculus Quest 2, for those of you that are seeking out a headset, because this world is so much, and any metaverse space is so much better, so much more immersive when you are using a VR headset. You actually feel like you are physically in the space. It is absolutely amazing. So if you have a chance to try them out, and I'll give you a tip that often when you go to conferences, and some of these are free, you're able to experience VR on the show floor. So for those of you, I go to NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, every year. They always have a VR area where you can experience what VR is like using an either Oculus Quest or whatever, because you're going to be able to experiment, or even sometimes in store where they sell these things, you'll be able to experiment and feel what VR feels like. So just look for different opportunities to try it out if you want to test before you buy. Yes. Wonderful. Wow. Well, let's see. I just want to make sure that we are not missing anybody's comments. So I'd like to say David Benjamin Eccles, my favorite Howard University Bison, is here. Thank you for being here. And he says, this is so cool. I think so too. Absolutely. Serena Will said that they had to register to attend a retreat and then got access where you could enter the site. It felt like you were walking up to the church. That's how this live stream is. She says it's very well done. She is looking through her laptop. So with that, I just have to say I am in complete awe and humbled, and thank you so much to all the entire team who worked to put this together. That is Ope, that is Cheddars for being a guest, that is Forte Gray, who is in the back of the room right now hiding. But thank you so much, Forte. You have been invaluable. And then Curtis, also known as MC Curtis, who is the producer, live stream producer for this event. He's in the room as well. You see him on the stage. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you, everybody joining here in AltSpace VR, everybody who joined on Clubhouse, everyone who joined in on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and everybody who is there in the Discord. Thank you so much. It's that this event went off well as well. We cannot underestimate the power of having the audience connection. So thank you. And with that, nothing else. All hearts and minds are clear, as they like to say in church. We will bid you adieu and have a fantastic afternoon. And those of you that are in AltSpace VR, feel free to stick around because you can actually interact with each other and speak. Thank you all so much for coming. Cheers. Thank you, everyone. So hopefully MC Curtis ended the live stream. I'm sure you have.